beautiful girls. Two of them graduated from Louisiana.
Who didn't like Charlie's Angels back in the 70s?
School for models.
I would think any male
And they each reaped the reward.
12, 15 years old to about 65, 70.
But I took them away from all that, and now
They like Charlie's Angels on mute.
My name is Charlie.
You could be watching it in a foreign language that you did not understand, and you'd like Charlie's Angels back in the 70s. Let's go to La Jolla, California. That's right. He's doing it live from La Jolla, saying this is New Orleans, even though he's in Metro San Diego. But we like the intro anyway. That's Mr. Drew Brees, number 9. Thank you very much for that. Every single day, we start the show with Drew Brees and his chant. Got a good one lined up for you. Another edition of Hillyer and Henican coming your way, just moments away. Right-leaning Quin Hillyer. This guy's been a conservative Republican since like age 12. Literally. Left-leaning Ellis Henican will join us as well. No, I love these guys because they're native New Orleanians like us. But Quin, after getting educated at Newman, went on to Georgetown in D.C., worked at the Beltway for a while. National pundit. Ellis went to Jesuit, graduated, went to New York, Columbia. National pundit. Both have written books. They're both just smart, insightful. Don't yell at each other. Disagree ideology-wise, probably on about 90% of what we'll discuss. But I always learn something. You will, too. Another edition of Hillyer and Henican just moments away. 2 big hours coming your way on the radio. Oh, so fine. 93.9 FM. New Orleans' own 107.9 FM. 600 AM from Baton Rouge to Pensacola, Florida. CoreyTalks.com live streaming. CoreyTalks.com. Corey spelled Kaare. We're on YouTube. Click to subscribe to our fledgling YouTube channel. We're trying to grow that in 2023. Corey Johnson Neutral Ground on YouTube. We do that until 6 o'clock, 4 to 6 p.m. weekdays. The first 90 minutes of the talk radio program live streaming on television all over the state of Louisiana. Cox Channel 4 TV, Your View Louisiana, Cox Channel 4. Weekday afternoons at 4 to 5:30. Also, you charter television subscribers, a.k.a. Spectrum TV. We're on Spectrum Channel 333, 4 to 5:30 weekdays. Let's jump into it. A lot to discuss over the next 2 hours. I love getting these guys on. Another edition of Hillyer and Henican. Right-leaning Quin Hillyer joins us again. How are you, Quin?
I'm doing great, Corey. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, it was good seeing you the other day in person.
Yes, indeed. It was great.
Yep, we talk a lot more in text even more than we talk, and we see each other in person every few years, it seems like. I got to see this guy, too, Ellis Henican, in person about a month or so ago. Ellis, how are you?
Good, Corey. My head's spinning a little bit. There's an awful lot going on right now, isn't there?
There is a lot. Pick your poison. What would you say jumps out at you, Ellis? I put the pressure on you.
I know it's not the most important thing in the world, but I've been a little obsessed about some of these cable TV machinations. And since that's partly my business, it's hard not to be obsessed by that.
Yeah, that's on my list for today. Anything jump out at you, Quin?
What?
Just major news stories. I was going to cut Ellis some slack. It's like you're winning a Grammy or an Emmy Award. It's like you're going to forget to thank someone. You know, just you don't have to have the perfect answer, but like Ellis said, it may not be number one on the list, but what news story is kind of big out there that jumps out at you? And maybe it is number one on the list.
Wow. There's so many stories. It's tough to say where to start.
No, you're right.
I'm waiting and watching to see what happens in Ukraine, because when are they going to start that spring offensive? That's a thing. And then of course, just watching Tucker Carlson leave Fox, I think actually has ramifications for Ukraine, because the Kremlin no longer has their top U.S. advocate spreading their vicious lies. So anyway, there's a lot going on there.
Yeah, they'll have to actually, maybe make up one. Won't have an actual real one in America they can use for their own propaganda. Yeah, I got Ukraine on the list. Why don't we start with the president? Ellis, Joe Biden, who is 80 years old today, says he's going to run again at 82 years old in like a year and a half or two. And ideally, he wins, and then he would be president. He'd end that second term at 86 years old. A lot of folks look at Joe Biden and think he's going to have trouble finishing out his first term mentally. I watch Joe Biden, Ellis, and I get nervous when he speaks. I'm like waiting for the screw up, for him to get lost, that type of thing. It's almost hard to pay attention to the car race because I'm waiting for the car wreck.
And the most likely guy he runs against is just a couple of years younger, right? What is this? Where's this youth culture I keep hearing about? It is a little strange, you have to say. The whole world seems like it's run by 23-year-olds, except that all our major politicians are up in their 70s and 80s. It's a strange moment. I'm not sure anyone really quite knows why it happened. Just that it did. I would say a couple things about it, though, just to get things rolling. First of all, different people at different ages have different capacities, and it's very hard to come up with a hard and fast rule. There is nobody that I know that doesn't think that Rupert Murdoch is running the Fox Corporation, and he's 92, not 82, 92. So, you got to judge these people a little bit about what they do and what they've achieved and what they're capable of. But be sure, I mean, there are advantages to being older. You get wisdom, you get some balance, you get some perspective, and maybe you slow down a step or two. I don't know. The guy seems to me to be a pretty effective president, but I can see it. He's not the spryest guy around.
Quin?
Look, 82 does not, by definition, have to be too old. But in this case, he's too old. He's too old at 80. He'll be too old at 82. He'll be too old at 86 when the next term ends, assuming he's still with us. What bothers me, though, as much as his age, is that he has governed consistently to the far left rather than to the middle. I defy anybody, including Ellis, to say where Joe Biden has actually held an olive branch to Republicans, the way Ronald Reagan used to do to Democrats, the way that Bill Clinton was forced to do to Republicans, et cetera, et cetera. I can't think of any. He's pushing some of the furthest left things, if it's him that's pushing it at all. And that's what is worrying people, is that he is not necessarily really calling all the shots, because the Joe Biden we knew was a very strong liberal, but he was also somebody who would go and talk to the other side and cut deals. He's not doing that this time. In fact, he on the debt limit, he is absolutely refusing even to meet with Republicans. That's not constructive.
Oh, Quinn, I can help you with that. I can easily help you with that. Why do we start with infrastructure? The kind of thing that exactly the previous president spent every week promising he was going to do. Large numbers of Republicans understand how important that was. That was one of his first out-of-the-gate achievements. Dealing with COVID in a way that was right down the middle, accepted by most mainstream scientists, getting us out of that that terrible situation and putting us back on solid footing. I could point to Ukraine, which I think is a very much down the middle policy, very much in the tradition of American foreign policy, making friends with our allies again and remembering who our enemies are. Policy that is, I think it's fair to say, not Tucker Carlson, but most mainstream Republicans have been quite supportive of it. I know there's some frustration among the more progressive members of the Democratic Party who think he's too mushy middle. But I don't think you can fairly characterize this guy as some kind of left-wing zealot. He's always he's a more liberal certainly than most Republicans are, but he's no wide-eyed crazy.
Hey, guys, hold on 1 second. Going to knock out a quick break. We'll come right back on that note. Quin, Hillyer, and Ellis Henican are with us. The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
Greater New Orleans, a destination for learning. With 13 colleges and universities and a booming job market, Greater New Orleans is the ultimate destination for your higher education. Your path to the future begins in Greater New Orleans. Find out more at studynola.com. Fausto's Italian Bistro on Vets has daily lunch specials Monday through Friday, and their entire lunch menu is available too. Open 11 a.m. through 2:30 p.m. For the finest in Sicilian and Italian cuisine, Fausto's Italian Bistro on Vets.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
Which Metro New Orleans area restaurant made CNN's top 50 in America and ThrillList.com's top 25 and has served presidents at the White House for over 40 years? Trey Yen in Mandeville.
Being a part of people's lives, from an engagement ring to a wedding band. Before you know it, the wedding day is here and groom and bride are exchanging gifts on that day. And not too long after that, there's baby gifts to have. And I just enjoy being part of other people's family, saying, Mr. Friend did my engagement ring and he did my mom and dad's engagement ring. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
Did you know Rouse's sells only Angus beef? Angus beef's natural marbling means more succulence and flavor. Whether you choose Rouse's USDA Prime, Choice, or Select, it'll be only Angus beef when you get it at Rouse's. Tastes like home.
River Cities Total Maintenance keeps you cool, New Orleans. NOLAAC.com is your cool spot.
Ford F-150, #1 seller in America. What about in the USA? Let's see, what about in the world? Who sells more trucks than Ford? Nobody. It's because the Lamar team is the real team. All that makes it happen is one goal: everybody having a great experience at Lamar Ford. We became #1 for a reason, because we're good, and we need to prove it every day, every deal, all the time.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes, a magazine as unique as you.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
From the owners of Katie's in Mid-City and Bienvenue in Harahan, an old school deli with over a dozen specialty sandwiches. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria.
Jazz Fest, Friday morning, 11 a.m. Day 1 of 7, weekend number 1 of 2, Jazz Fest 2023. This Friday morning, 11 a.m. The gates will open in Gentilly. Hey, Quinn, you can take it from here if you'd like, responding to Ellis's response to you claiming there are no bipartisan accomplishments with Joe Biden.
No, what I said is that there's not a single time where Biden has reached out to cross a divide where there was a clear divide. When you start out with 30 or 35 Republicans already wanting an infrastructure bill, then it's pretty easy to get bipartisan support because you started with the bipartisan support. I'm talking about any time that you've got the party clearly, the two parties clearly divergent, and the president reaching out to, while not giving up his biggest priorities, but still reaching out to find common ground. Like
did Trump and Obama have that?
Trump did not. Obama, oddly enough, deputized Joe Biden to do it, but Joe Biden has not, as I wrote the other day, Joe Biden has not chosen a Joe Biden to go do it. What I'm talking about is like when there was another debt limit fight, a big budget fight at the end of one year when Obama was president, and clearly the Republicans all wanted to cut spending and keep some tax cuts, and the Democrats wanted to go the exact opposite direction. And Obama deputized Joe Biden to go meet with John Boehner, the Republican leader, and work out a compromise where neither side got everything they wanted by any means, but we avoided catastrophe. That's what I'm talking about when you have divergent views. And in this case, in our debt ceiling fight right now, you have the Republicans saying, please, we will meet with you anytime. Let's just sit down and have some discussions, not even formal negotiations. And Biden says, no, I won't even meet with you. That's not constructive. And that's exactly the opposite of what he ran on in 2020 when he claimed that he was going to be a moderate.
Ellis?
Well, why don't we look at that a little more closely? As you know, Quinn, to make a deal, you got to have two sides that are willing to be reasonable and to talk with you. If we look at this budget debt ceiling situation right now, Joe Biden has been very, very clear about this. He is happy to discuss any of these priorities. How much money we want to spend on this program or that program, or whether veteran health care is important, or whether food stamps are important. Eager to discuss any of those things, but not when you're threatening the full credit and faith of the United States government by threatening to blow up the entire economy. You can't do that. We've got to pay these bills, and you cannot hold hostage money that Congress has already approved, that the president has already signed, money that's already been spent, and threaten to send a wrecking ball through the entire economy in an extortion attempt to get what you need. That's exactly what the House Republicans are doing, by the way.
Well, exactly.
That's not somebody who wants a reasonable discussion. You give a little argument. That's somebody who's got a gun in your head. You can't say yes.
Wait a minute.
Ever.
Wait a minute. Why is it that Joe Biden can suddenly take the position that the debt limit is non-negotiable, it cannot be tied in with these other things, when he, 3 previous times when he was in the Senate, voted against raising the debt limit, and when he repeatedly said that the debt limit is a good time to discuss fiscal priorities and to negotiate on them. I just had something come across my desk detailing it's something like 8 or 9 different times when Joe Biden said just the opposite of what he's doing now, which is that the debt limit is exactly a good time to talk about all this. Suddenly He's saying that they're holding a gun at his head when they want to do what he's done 8 or 9 times. That doesn't fly.
Quin, are you really comfortable with the idea of shooting the puppy? I mean, holding a hostage, the entire economy?
The one holding him hostage.
Wrong. This is just wrong. I don't care who said they would do it in the past. I don't care about any other time. I know the difference between right and wrong. This is wrong.
No, but who's in the wrong here? Is it the people that have been consistent in their whole career saying the debt limit is a time to negotiate this stuff? Or is it the guy who 8 or 9 times has said the debt limit is the time to negotiate the stuff and now says, no, absolutely won't? Not only that, but I won't even sit down to talk to you about it. It's the guy who is refusing to talk who is holding the gun to the head of the U.S. economy.
Well, and if consistency is so important, where were all these supposed fiscal hawks year after year in the Trump administration when they raised it? They raised it without a single peep as the deficit went through the sky. The deficit went up. The debt went up. It was a hugely irresponsible period with all those tax cuts for the super wealthy and the spending continued. None of these people had a single problem with it. Quin, you know the fact. This is just ideological. This is just a political hit.
Well, I'm not. Well, first of all, I'm not guilty of that because I spent 4 years just ripping the shreds out of Trump for being the big spender that he was. Hello.
I'm glad about that. I'm glad about that.
Yeah, and yes, some of the Republicans are definitely hypocrites because they didn't speak up against what Trump was doing to spend, and some of them joined him in the spend-a-thon. But the simple fact is right now, the Republicans said, let's sit down. They have said it repeatedly, and Biden says he won't even sit with them. Period.
Take the gun away from your head, and then I'll have a gun.
Biden's got the gun.
That's the way to do it. That's the way you got to do it like that. You can't put that gun at the head of the nation's economy. That's horrible to do.
Hey, Quin.
Biden's the one holding the gun. That's the point.
Hey guys, let's move on to Donald Trump. Quin, we're mentioning Biden. I don't think a lot of folks voted for Biden and were excited about it. Like, there's my guy, especially when we're talking about the moderate Republican or Democrat or independent that was on the fence and didn't know which way they were going to vote. I think a lot of folks it was hold your nose and vote for the one that stinks the least. And it was almost, I can't vote for Trump, kind of an anybody but Trump type of vote, more than a pro-Biden vote. It looks like we could have the same election again, a rinse and repeat. Is that what is expected to go down again? Or do you think Biden's age could be the deciding factor and maybe overrule Trump's obnoxiousness, and I can't vote for Biden's age, and that's why I voted for Trump? Am I right about what race is expected, and is it kind of a rinse and repeat of what we just had?
Well, it's a rinse and repeat, but it's rinse, repeat, and throw the dice because just like last time, by one die sort of teetering on the edge before falling Biden's way, which he did. Biden clearly won that election.
3 states with about 40,000 votes decided the election.
Exactly. It was really close in the Electoral College. And something that close, if you've got the same 2 flawed characters, and you have different, bad weather in one part of the country and good weather in another part of the country, et cetera, that affects the turnout. Just a little difference in turnout could have a different result. Either way, the country is in bad shape if either one of these characters takes over on January 20th of 2025. Seriously, we can do better. And at least on the Republican side, there's some challengers, including one who I just interviewed this afternoon, Tim Scott of South Carolina. On the Democratic side, other than Robert Kennedy Jr., nobody serious, at least, has had the guts to take on Joe Biden, and somebody needs to step forward.
Ellis, you have both Trump and Biden with north of 50% disapproval rating. Trump might be north of 60 and Biden somewhere in the low to mid 50s. Is it really what Quin and I are describing? It's sort of you just picking the least bad candidate?
Well, there's some of that. I mean, there's fear of the candidate on the other side. And I mean, we're a grumpy nation right now. You know, we don't like anybody. I mean, we don't like politicians. We think they're all corrupt. We think they're all locked into unhelpful ideologies. We think they're all talking about stuff that aren't the real issues that we have in our lives. So I think there's a lot of that out there. And at the same time, the country, as you know, is very tribal. I mean, people are, you know, it's the Saints versus the Falcons. There's no argument you can make that's going to convince somebody to change their political tribe. It's very locked in and very grumpy right now. So yeah, it's a hard thing to change.
And also, even though it's the same two candidates, Trump doesn't appear to be changing. He is who he is. He's going to continue to be obnoxious. Joe Biden is changing. He's getting older, Ellis.
You know, it's interesting when you talk about that. I don't know I've never met somebody whose mind was changed on that subject. I think even Democrats who say, you know, that guy's getting up there, you know, I wonder if he's going to be fit, 5.5 years from now. I've never met anyone who that would be enough to make them go from a Biden vote to a Trump vote.
No. That's a big jump. I mean, Jimmy Carter said he didn't know if he could be president at 80. You know, Carter just recently said that, but that doesn't mean, hey, and that means I'm voting for Donald Trump over 80-year-old Joe Biden. Hang on a second, guys. Coming right back. More with Quin, Hillyer, and Ellis Henican next.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
For us, it's really relationships. And if you care about the relationship, you're going to do the right thing for the customer all the time. When we're in design process of a custom-made piece, I have a test that says, if I wouldn't give this to my wife, I think we should pass and start over. If it's not perfect, it's going back to the shop. We're going to start all the way over. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
Hey guys, it's Frank Smith from LasVegasGambling.com with your weekend 5-star lock of the week. Lock of the week. Take the Lakers and the points over the Clippers. Sell the house, sell the boat, sell your children. Send grandma away and take the money. Put everything you've got on this 5-star selection. It's the Lakers over the Clippers. And we've also got a fantastic 5-star parlay as well. Call us now, 888-555-7777. It's Frank Smith, a.k.a. The Hammer, from LasVegasGambling.com. Do it now.
There's a Middle Eastern restaurant that's less than 5 minutes from where Causeway and River Road meet, Lebanon's Cafe. Convenient to Old Metairie and Old Jefferson. Carrollton at Jeanette on the streetcar line, Lebanon's Cafe.
River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NoAC.com, your cool spot. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NoAC.com, your cool spot.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
At Home Paint and Decorating, our paints are in it for the long haul. In fact, our top bench of more exterior paints come with a lifetime warranty. Not 25 years, not 50 years, we mean forever. You heard right. At Helm Paint, our top exterior paints have a lifetime warranty against chipping, peeling, and flaking. They also are mildew resistant. Imagine painting your home one time and being done with it. Visit any one of our locations today and make that once-in-a-lifetime purchase. Paint that has a lifetime warranty. Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore. Let us steer you in the right direction.
Greater New Orleans, a destination for learning. With 13 colleges and universities and a booming job market, Greater New Orleans is the ultimate destination for your higher education. Your path to the future begins in Greater New Orleans. Find out more at studynola.com.
The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center. It's open now. We fix cars and trucks. We do all makes and models. And it doesn't have to be a Ford or a Lincoln. It could be whatever you're driving. 32,000 square feet under roof. Now open at 3101 Williams Boulevard. It's all about you, the customer, getting the most for your dollar. I would say the most perfect collision center anywhere. The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, 3101 Williams Boulevard. Go check it out.
In New Orleans, we don't eat to live. We live to eat.
More is better.
Scott Craig of Katie's.
That is our slogan. More is better at Katie's. It means more of everything. Not just more food, more smiles, more friendship, more love. More. When you do something, you have to do it right. You know, it's all about more, and it's all more of the good things.
Get more at Katie's Restaurant in Mid-City.
Welcome back, Crescent City and beyond. Corey Johnson with you on radio, television, YouTube, live streaming, CoreyTalks.com. It's another edition of Hillyer and Henican, right-leaning Quin Hillyer, left-leaning Ellis Henican, joining us again on the program. Ellis, were you shocked when Carlson Tucker, as I call him, known, I guess, in the rest of the world as Tucker Carlson, and Don Lemon, to a point, being dismissed? Both kind of represent their network somewhat, but Carlson Tucker was a powerhouse, just a ratings giant, lots of advertisers, largest audience in the history of that medium. Don Leming's kind of if Don Leming stays or goes, you know, is it going to really affect this sort of struggling CNN? Fox is a juggernaut, but they just seem to kind of plug and play. O'Reilly leaving, oh my God, what are we going to do? Megyn Kelly goes right in there, basically. Megyn Kelly leaving, what are we going to do? You get Carlson Tucker. Look at lightweight Waters. This Waters guy's dominating the ratings. Fox can almost put anybody in there. What are your thoughts about Carlson Tucker and Don Leming to some degree?
Well, you are right. Both of those are very powerful brands. Let's talk about Fox for a second. Whoever you put in at 8 o'clock on primetime evenings on the Fox News Channel has a lot of advantages. The lead-ins are strong, and the brand is strong, and the audience is pretty loyal. Maybe not as loyal as they once were, but still pretty loyal. I cannot claim that I saw it coming. I mean, I don't think anybody did, including Tucker. As you piece through the details and you reflect a bit about his recent history at the channel, there are signs of trouble. I mean, some of it is that he just wandered too far away, promoting these white supremacist theories of undermining the American military and the war in Ukraine, and taking positions that were pretty far out there, even for Fox, but probably more damaging to him were the details that have leaked out about his comments and feelings about his bosses on the network, using foul language to describe the CEO at Fox, acting as if he's bigger and more important than the channel and the Murdoch family. And I think a message came down from on high that said, listen, you may think you're a big deal, but you ain't bigger than us. And you work for us as a hired hand. And if you seem to forget that, we're going to remind you of it in a very dramatic fashion. I think that's fundamentally what happened.
Quinn?
I think Ellis is probably right. Tucker Carlson, the iteration of Tucker Carlson that we've seen in the past about 4 or 5 years is not very familiar to people that knew him 25 years ago and even up to, as I say, about 6 years ago. But there were signs. I mean, this is a guy that was kicked out of his elite Swiss boarding school for some horrible infraction. I don't know what. This is a guy who had a feud with Republican tax cut advocate Grover Norquist and was childish enough when he found himself at a reception with Grover, and he was standing on a little, one of those little half stairways, and he looked down, he saw Grover beneath him, and he had Tucker had a Bloody Mary in his hand, so he turned his whole drink over on Grover's head. So, so Tucker has a bad time that he hid for about 25 years because he was a very personable guy, and most people got along with him. But man, the bad side has come out. There's been some serious white supremacist garbage. He's been pushing absolute demonstrable lies that he knew were lies. Good riddance to him. He clearly will find a way to land on his feet, but he won't land on his feet with a built-in audience of $3.5 million who only have to turn on their familiar channel to do it.
No, there's no doubt. That's going to be a little tougher. Fox, like Ellis was saying, sort of built in. Quinn, two things. Does Fox just plug and play? They could put Waters in there, Gutfeld, probably going to get the exact same results. And the opposite for CNN and MSNBC, unless you can hire like Bill Maher or Jon Stewart, you got to just keep throwing mud at the wall and hope something sticks and is the next Bill Maher or Jon Stewart, because those two networks are like 0 for 20 on hosts.
Yeah, well, look, I'll let Ellis talk about this because he actually knows that industry, that part of the industry better than I do. He's been on it a lot more than I have. So, Ellis, what do you think?
Well, I mean, listen, that's a great question as to what you will pose. I mean, listen, CNN is having trouble figuring out what it is, right? I mean, I think the current push is to get a little newsier and a little less ideological. Chris Licht, who's the new boss there, seems to be pushing the channel in that direction. And the morning show was not like that, and so I think that it was a kind of went against the overall grade. I would expect that we're going to get a newsier morning show there, less explicitly opinionated, and that you're going to find that 2 years from now, MSNBC is going to be, have a fairly strong progressive voice. Fox is going to have a fairly strong liberal voice. And I bet you that CNN is going to be more like the old CNN, a little newsier and down the middle.
And you meant Fox will have a conservative.
You know what the funny thing is? Here's a funny thing. I'm the supposed conservative, but I think Tucker only had me on, and that was sort of by an extension by quoting something of mine one time. But Don Lemon actually had me on CNN twice. So the CNN sort of mojo has always been a little more to reach out to both sides than Fox's has been. And I think CNN's going to do just fine without Don Lemon.
Yeah, I don't think
Jake Tapper loves you, right?
Well, Jake and I get along great. I don't know him real well, but he's put me on twice this year. And I think Jake Tapper is sort of the new model at CNN, where you've got somebody, he clearly leans left when he leans, but he really makes a big effort to try to hold both sides to account and to try to ask tough questions of both sides, et cetera, et cetera. That's the CNN model. I actually think if they give it time, I think it can work.
Ellis, moving on to Ukraine, this information leak from this 19-year-old kid, the spring offensive. How are things going in your mind in Ukraine?
Well, those leaks are devastating. And I don't care if it's a gamer or if it's a foreign spy. It does damage. To me, the most interesting thing in Ukraine was the telephone call between the head of Ukraine and the head of China.
Yep.
I mean, that's pretty interesting. I think China would like to be positioned as a kind of a peacemaker here, as some kind of broker. And they say, hey, well, the U.S. couldn't broker it. Maybe we can. I think that's, honestly, of the stuff that happened this week, that's the thing that I find most intriguing.
He makes a good point. I mean, that it makes a good point just as analysis, but B, it also shows that we got to be worried that even people that are basically our allies like Ukraine, the idea that they would look to China to solve something we can't solve shows that the U.S. position in the world has been significantly weakened in the last 10 years. We got to worry about that.
No, plus China realizes the war will end at some time. It's going to be trillions of dollars in rebuilding Ukraine, this entire country. And they want in on that. And if they help broker peace, that's their in on that. So, no, you're right on the money, too, Quinn. We're in the middle of this as deep as it gets. And China is involved now, and Ukraine goes and visits with China.
Yeah, all of that is true. But I would also point out, guys, that there have been several somewhat unexpected benefits that the United States has gotten out of this whole thing. First of all, we've united our traditional allies in a way they have not been united in years. NATO has never been stronger than it is right now. Other nations are clamoring to be included. I think that we have shown the Russian military to be a phony. I mean, far less organized and effective than we all thought they were. They are not a first-class world power. Their only hope is to do these most brutal and horrible and indefensible attacks on a largely previously defenseless nation.
Yep.
So I'm not sure it's all bad. I mean, listen, the loss of life is horrendous and inexcusable and irreplaceable. But there's some things to look at this and see. Well, we have actually achieved some stuff here.
Quinn?
Well, we will not have achieved some stuff here of lasting value unless Ukraine essentially wins the war. I would just quibble that, NATO has been stronger. NATO was stronger in the mid-'80s when Ronald Reagan got unified opposition to the very mighty Soviet Union, and that was even though France had a socialist as a leader in Mitterrand. Germany was, had a huge green movement, et cetera, and yet under Reagan and Thatcher, NATO stood strong against.
Hold that thought, Quinn. Hold that thought. We're coming right back. Our final segment, Hillyer and Henican.
At Helm Paint, we go the extra mile with free delivery anywhere in the metro area. In the middle of a job and short on paint? Call us and we'll come to you.
Short on time? Call in your order and pick it up in the drive-thru at our Earhart Boulevard location.
Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore. Let us steer you in the right direction.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Henican. Intralox, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralox technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralox is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
Rouse's Market is hiring. With 65 stores, full or part-time employment, and flexible scheduling, Rouse's has a job for you, or maybe even a career. Apply at any Rouse's store or online at rouses.com.
It's time to relax. The Woodhouse Day Spa, Metro New Orleans' premier day spa experience, now with 5 area locations. For a day of relaxation or maybe just a quick 1-hour getaway, the Metro area's premier day spa experience is at the Woodhouse Day Spa. And now 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and our newest location in Mandeville. The Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
Fausto's Italian Bistro on Veterans Boulevard, where the brothers Fausto and Roland are serving some of the city's finest Sicilian and Italian cuisine. From New Orleans' first family of Sicilian and Italian cooking, Fausto's Italian Bistro on Vets.
Being a part of people's lives, from an engagement ring to a wedding band. Before you know it, the wedding day is here and groom and bride are exchanging gifts on that day. And not too long after that, there's baby gifts to have. And I just enjoy being part of other people's family, saying, Mr. Friend did my engagement ring and he did my mom and dad's engagement ring. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this Lamarck Automotive Complex, there's something called Quick Lane. Tires, wheel alignments, struts, servicing your transmission. We're doing all makes and models. It doesn't have to have been purchased from us. It's for you. It handles your lifestyle with your budget in mind. And we want to get you in and out as quick as possible. Quick Lane, you got to come see it. You're going to love the experience right there at Williams Boulevard in Kenner.
Greater New Orleans, a destination for learning. With 13 colleges and universities and a booming job market, Greater New Orleans is the ultimate destination for your higher education. Your path to the future begins in Greater New Orleans. Find out more at studynola.com.
If you love Katie's Restaurant in Mid-City, you're going to love Bienvenue in Harahan. The same folks bringing a little of that New Orleans flavor to Hickory Avenue. If you love Katie's, come to Bienvenue on Hickory Avenue in Harahan.
Another edition of Hillyer and Henican. Quin Hillyer joining us on the program. You can check him out via his website, Quin spelled with one N, Hillyer spelled Hillyer, QuinHillyer.com. Left-leaning Ellis Henican, you can find him at his website, Henican.com, Henican, Henican.com. Hey, Ellis, the abortion pill, a Texas judge makes a ruling. The Fifth Circuit right here in New Orleans upholds that ruling. The Supreme Court in D.C. comes in and puts the ruling on pause. The pill is still alive.
For now, that's right. I get the feeling, and this is not a legal analysis as much as a political one, I suppose, that the court may be easing up on this extreme position it's taken. They've seen the horrible reaction across the country to the overturning of Roe v. Wade, and maybe there's a little bit of a pulling back from the most extreme views on this issue.
Quin?
This is not as much a case about abortion as it is a case about bureaucratic procedures and about standing in court. In other words, whether somebody actually has a demonstrable harm that gives them the right to go to court in the first place. This is going to be sold as, are you pro-life or pro-choice? What are the justices, pro-life or pro-choice? It's not that. It's actually some fairly complicated legal questions that actually tend to move in the direction that pro-choicers would like, but not because of anything having to do with abortion, but because the legal questions this time seem to favor them.
So, Quin, you're disagreeing with Ellis that the court, their feeling might have lessened, and
it's way, way, way too common for people to say, and I'm not saying Ellis, I'm saying just in general, people say, oh, the court rules because of what their policy predilections are. And that's really just not the case. Most of these justices rule on their actual honest interpretation of what the law says. Right and left, they do that. And so this isn't, these cases are not always about the underlying political issues. They're actually about legal standards, and people need to remember that.
Hey, Quin, Washington State becomes the 9th state to ban assault weapons. It seems like the vast majority of the country are for enhanced background checks, at the very least, if not some other enhanced gun laws and regulations. What do you think of Washington State, the 9th state? That's about 1/5 of the country are banning assault weapons.
I tend to be pro Second Amendment rights. I am not an expert on what counts as an assault weapon, what counts as a machine gun, et cetera, et cetera. I just think we should always walk very carefully and err on the side of keeping people's rights, which means keeping their rights to self-defense. But there's some of these things where at the margins, you probably do not have a Second Amendment violation, and that's why it's good that we have federalism, meaning states decide individually rather than one big national rule. I'm not necessarily all that upset with Washington State doing this.
Ellis?
I wish that all 50 would do it. Yeah, and the state-by-state thing doesn't work when you buy the gun in Georgia and you take it up to the streets of the Bronx and shoot people with it. It's what we're doing now isn't working. We got to come up with something that's a little more sensible, I believe.
Well, a lot of pro-gun people would say, would point to the number of times that lives were definitely saved because people on the scene had guns and used them to shoot the criminals.
Hey, speaking of guns, this is about as big of a gun as there is on the planet. North Korea continues to antagonize, and there's actually a treaty that they just ignore as far as them proliferating the use and stockpile of nuclear weapons. We're sending a nuclear submarine, at least one, a nuclear-armed submarine, I should say, not just nuclear-powered, to a South Korean military port. That's a pretty big gun right there, Ellis. The world's biggest. What do you think about not putting nuclear weapons back on South Korean soil, but essentially bringing that rather large gun to send a message to North Korea?
Scary people, scary weapons. That's about all I can say about that.
Yep. Quin?
Look, I think just about this is actually a good sign that the Biden administration is doing it. Not that it's good that they have to do it, but it's good that they have the sort of the fortitude, if it's needed, to go do a show of strength over there and protect our allies and protect our own interests in the process.
Yep. Ellis, anything in the hopper? What would folks be checking out if they went to Henican.com?
You just get over there. Yeah, I mean, I'm just cranking out the books and the columns and hanging out with you guys. I'm lucky to be doing this. Let's be honest.
Yep, I'm with you. I'm in the same boat. Quin, how about you? What's on QuinHillyer.com?
Oh, man, I'm writing about 10 things a week now, which is way too much. But the one I'm excited about, just this afternoon, I interviewed South Carolina Senator Tim Scott, who's probably running for president. That report should be at maybe 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. And I think, look, the guy's a very likable guy, and I hope people will look at it, the Washington Examiner, for my piece, my interview with Tim Scott.
QuinHillyer.com, Henican.com. Quin, a pleasure. Thanks, man.
Thanks to both of you.
Thank you, Ellis.
I'll be with y'all. Talk to you soon.
All right. Talk to you guys soon. Another edition of Hillyer and Henican. That's Blue Boys saying stick around.
You're on the neutral ground with Corey Johnson. On TV on Cox Channel 4 and Spectrum Channel 333. Also on YouTube. On radio at NOLA Talk 93.9 FM. WSLA New Orleans.
Hi, it's Ken Friend from Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business. Come see us over on Maple Street in Uptown.
Friend & Company Fine Jewelers Breitling time, 5 p.m.
Young's Dry Cleaning with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Greater New Orleans, a destination for learning. With 13 colleges and universities and a booming job market, Greater New Orleans is the ultimate destination for your higher education. Your path to the future begins in Greater New Orleans. Find out more at studynola.com.
From the owners of Katie's in Mid-City and Bienvenue in Harahan, an old school deli with over a dozen specialty sandwiches. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
River Cities, total maintenance keeps you cool. River Cities, total maintenance keeps you cool. River Cities, total maintenance keeps you cool. NolaAC.com, your cool spot. River Cities, total maintenance keeps you cool. NolaAC.com, your cool spot.
Hi, this is Joey Helm. My dad, Bunky Helm, had a vision of a locally family-owned store serving the residential and commercial paint needs of New Orleans. I think Dad would be proud of today's Helm Paint and Decorating, and here's why. We have the best technical staff in the business, providing the best color matching service in Southeast Louisiana. Perfect matching for any color and any brand. And we'll save your colors so you don't have to save those old cans. Helm Paint offers free 2-hour delivery. Our in-store decorators will assist you on deciding what color and type of paint to best showcase your home. But most importantly, as your local independent Benjamin Moore dealer, our products provide the greatest value in the paint industry. Superior coverage, and Benjamin Moore paint simply covers better and lasts longer. New Orleans is a city of vibrant color, and no one else provides the paints of New Orleans like Helm Paint and Decorating. Visit any of our 6 locations or online at helmpaint.com.
Helm Paint, let us steer you right. Helm Paint and Supply.
Here's New Orleans native son, Corey Johnson.
New Orleans City Councilman Freddie King joins us.
So I want to first say thanks for having me. And believe it or not, man, I used to listen to your show all the time driving home. So it's an honor to be on.
Freddie, I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. It's an honor to have you on the program. Thanks.
The official afternoon talk show of the city of New Orleans. It's Corey Johnson on the neutral ground, where New Orleans is heard.
The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, it's open now. We fix cars and trucks. We do all makes and models. And it doesn't have to be a Ford or a Lincoln. It could be whatever you're driving. 32,000 square feet under roof. Now open at 3101 Williams Boulevard. It's all about you, the customer, getting the most for your dollar. I would say the most perfect collision center anywhere. The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, 3101 Williams Boulevard. Go check it out.
Rouse's, New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's has the only full-service grocery stores both in the French Quarter on Royal Street and in the CBD on Baronne in the old Sewell Cadillac building. The Rouse's on the river, Tchoupitoulas at Napoleon, is in a century-old warehouse. And uptown on Ferret at the corner of Valence is Rouse's all-new boutique store. With 7 locations in Orleans Parish, Rouse's is New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's Markets. Taste like home.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Henican. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Being a part of people's lives, from an engagement ring to a wedding band. Before you know it, the wedding day is here and groom and bride are exchanging gifts on that day. And not too long after that, there's baby gifts to have. And I just enjoy being part of other people's family, saying, Mr. Friend did my engagement ring and he did my mom and dad's engagement ring. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
WKRP, WCRAP, KRP. I'm Dr. Johnny Fever. Venus Flytrap is up next. I'm going to go flirt with Lonnie Anderson. Or maybe Bailey. All right, enough of this. Where's number 9, Mr. Drew Brees, please? Live from La Jolla, California. It is indeed New Orleans, Louisiana. Number 9 is correct. Thank you, Mr. Drew Brees. Corey Johnson back at you. 5 o'clock power hour coming your way. Yeah, you right. If you missed the 4 o'clock hour, you missed a lot. Another edition of Hillyer and Henican. A good 45 minutes plus of right-leaning Quin Hillyer, of left-leaning Ellis Henican, talking about a slew of topics from Biden to Trump to Carlson Tucker to Don Lemon to the abortion pill to Ukraine, China, Zelensky, Russia, North Korea. All kind of goodies on the buffet in the 4 o'clock hour. Another edition of Hillyer and Henican. I love getting those guys on because they're born and raised here in New Orleans, left like 30, 40 years ago off to college, and have essentially never returned. They're national pundits that live outside the city. But they know us. They get us. They're Yaddy New Orleanians, born and raised, but have gone on. And I like getting them on the program, breaking stuff down. Plus, I like that one is right wing, one's left wing, yet they respect each other. It's not a lot of yelling. They disagree, basically ideologically opposed on about 90% of the stuff we discuss. Rarely do they agree. But I like the thoughtful conversation and learning something and all of that. So try to do it every 3 or 4 weeks, once a month or so. Get Quin Hillyer on and Ellis Henican on. You can check them out via their websites, Quin Hillyer, Quin with one N, QuinHillyer.com, and Ellis at Henican.com. It is a wide open Wednesday edition of the program. You're the show producer on Wide Open Wednesday. Whatever you'd like to discuss. Maybe something that isn't being discussed enough, or maybe something that's not being discussed at all that you think is of vital importance, that should be top of the list, top of the chart. Love to hear from you. Rouse's Markets phone line, 766-9480. Rouse's Markets phone lines, 766-9480. 766-9480. On this wide open Wednesday edition of the program. Press Drive by Leon C. Simon, by the FBI, by UNO and SUNO. Southern University of New Orleans campus, under the train trellis heading towards the chef. Press Drive going through SUNO's campus, now known as SUNO Blvd. SUNO Knights Boulevard. I'm guessing about, halfway to the chef once it gets through the campus and the golf course. Turns residential again. I'm guessing, I don't know what street that would be. That would be like Press Drive, and maybe does Robert E. Lee go through the old canal that's been filled in with now I think has a culvert? Does Robert E. Lee go through that? It would be something like that, like Robert E. Lee and Press is about halfway, I'm guessing, in between Leon C. Simon and Chef. So I think Press Drive, like where the Walmart is, where the Baptist Seminary is at Press and Chef Highway, that will remain Press and Chef Highway. I guess the Walmart is on Press and Chef, and the Baptist Seminary, they're on Press and Gentilly Boulevard. Press Drive might be where Gentilly Boulevard turns into Chef Highway. Press Drive might be the spot. Anyway, I'm assuming that corner will be Press Drive still, and somewhere in between Chef Highway or Gentilly Boulevard and Leon C. Simon, halfway through there, it'll turn into SUNO Blvd. No, SUNO is an integral part of the city. About 2,000 students, hundreds of faculty and staff. It's sort of a catch-22. I mean, consolidation of colleges and universities in Louisiana, having some of these 4-year schools become a 2-year junior college type thing. You might start in some specialized program that's, go to Nichols or McNeese to be a chef, or, something in the, culinary field. It might be a 2-year program, or you go there for 2 years. And then if you want the 4-year degree, you finish up at one of the more, flagship type schools elsewhere in the state. It's like every 35, 40 miles in Louisiana, there's a major 4-year college or university. But like Southeastern and Hammond, for instance, how do you turn that into a 2-year school when they've got like 15,000 plus students now? It's like a flip-flop in enrollment. UNO went from 18,000 students 20 years ago to like 8,000. And Southeastern went from like 8,000 to like 18. They've like flip-flopped. LSU is basically what it's always been, around 32,000 students, although in the last 2 or 3 years, they've increased it by a few thousand, somewhere in the mid-30s, 35, 36,000 students at LSU. SUNO in reality should probably be like SUNO at UNO, like sort of under the UNO umbrella. Grambling should probably be under the La Tech umbrella. UNO and SUNO are next door to each other. Grambling and La Tech are a few miles apart. Southern is too big. Southern's one of the largest black schools, enrollment of black students in America, like top 2 or 3. Usually 8,500, 9,000, 10,000 plus at Southern up on the bluff. You can't shut that school down or put it under another school's umbrella. But the McNeese, the Nichols, LSU-E is a 2-year school, not a 4-year school. I think LSU-A in Alexandria is 4-year. It's just, how many of these schools can we have? Anyway, I have nothing against SUNO. It probably should just exist still, but be under UNO's umbrella. Look at Tulane with Newcomb. Post-Katrina, they essentially consolidated Newcomb into Tulane now. You don't get a Newcomb degree. There's not a all-girls school at Tulane known as Newcomb anymore. The private university, what's the most effective thing to do? And some would argue, you should have stayed with the tradition. Some would argue that Tulane should have kept their full-blown engineering school post-Katrina. But the private school, not public, the one that really has to operate under a more realistic budget, can't just have a deficit every year and, the public will fund it. They consolidated. Legalization of recreational marijuana has failed to get out of committee in Baton Rouge. The House Criminal Justice Committee pretty much voting falling on party lines. 9 Republicans voted against the bill. 4 Democrats voted for the bill. 9-4, the legalization of recreational marijuana failing to get out of committee. It essentially is legal in Louisiana because medical marijuana exists, and you can essentially call a doctor and say, the split ends on my hair really are hurting today. Those split ends on my hair follicles are really hurting me. I need a medical marijuana card, and you'll be granted it. I can't sleep at night. I have migraines. My toenails hurt. You can pretty much make up whatever you want, and you can get a medical marijuana card and then get just about anything you want. Vape form, edibles, flower, the old school stuff, they call it flower. Now, I have friends that never, ever touch marijuana in their life that have the card and go and get the vape pen or edibles or whatever. They're like discovering marijuana at 50, 60 years old. Crazy. Corey Johnson with you on radio, on television, live on YouTube. Yeah, you're right. Boy, when the weather's like this, outdoor dining at Lebanon's Cafe tonight for dinner. They go till 9:30, under the green awning, under the oak trees, on the streetcar line. The weather's perfect. Outdoor dining, some of the finest Middle Eastern food in Metro New Orleans, Lebanon's Cafe.
Greater New Orleans, a destination for learning. With 13 colleges and universities and a booming job market, Greater New Orleans is the ultimate destination for your higher education. Your path to the future begins in Greater New Orleans. Find out more at studynola.com.
When USA Today ranked the 10 best must-visit New Orleans restaurants for travelers, Mid-City's own Katie's made the list. USA Today says Scott Craig is chef-owner at Katie's, a much-loved Creole Italian eatery that draws armies of regulars for lunch, brunch, and dinner. A neighborhood spot where locals congregate and New Orleans-style hospitality rules. Indeed it does. Katie's in Mid-City.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations, New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa, woodhousespas.com.
For us, it's really relationships. And if you care about the relationship, you're going to do the right thing for the customer all the time. When we're in design process of a custom-made piece, I have a test that says, if I wouldn't give this to my wife, I think we should pass and start over. If it's not perfect, it's going back to the shop. We're going to start all the way over. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
Fausto's Italian Bistro on Vets has daily lunch specials Monday through Friday, and their entire lunch menu is available too. Open 11 a.m. through 2:30 p.m. For the finest in Sicilian and Italian cuisine, Fausto's Italian Bistro on Vets.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Henican. Intralox, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralox technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralox is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Rouse's Market is hiring. With 65 stores, full or part-time employment, and flexible scheduling, Rouse's has a job for you, or maybe even a career. Apply at any Rouse's store or online at rouses.com.
Young's Dry Cleaning, with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River cities. Total maintenance keeps you cool. NolaAC.com, your cool spot. River cities. Total maintenance keeps you cool. NolaAC.com, your cool spot.
1970 was an exciting time in New Orleans. The first Jazz Fest was held, the city hosted its first Super Bowl, and the first Helm Paint location opened on Earhart Boulevard. While the floppy disks, mood rings, and pet rocks may have come and gone since the 70s, Helm Paint has grown to become your premier source for quality Benjamin Moore products, competitive pricing, and personal service. Please visit one of our locations today, and we'll meet our competitors' prices on any identical product. Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore, let us steer you in the right direction.
Helm Paint and Supply.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com. For over 20 years, serving healthy, fresh, authentic Middle Eastern cuisine, Lebanon's Cafe, in the Carrollton section of Uptown on the streetcar line, Wednesday through Monday, 11 a.m. to 9:30. Lebanon's Cafe. Yeah, you right. Crescent City and beyond. Corey Johnson back at you. A wide open Wednesday edition of the program where you're the show producer. Rouse's Markets phone line 766-9480. 766-9480. Dial us up via the Rouse's Markets phone lines 766-9480. 5 o'clock power hour on this wide open Wednesday where you're the show producer. Yeah, if you missed the 4 o'clock hour, you missed a lot. Quin Hillyer, right-leaning Quin Hillyer, lifetime conservative, lifelong Republican. Ellis Henican, left-leaning Ellis Henican joined us on the program, talking about the most likely Joe Biden, Donald Trump election coming up in a year and a half, 2 years from now. Biden will be 82. Trump will be 78. It's basically a rinse and repeat. Joe Biden didn't win the presidency last time, and I'm not talking about fake election or fixed election or any of that nonsense, that ridiculousness. No, folks just voted against Donald Trump. If Twitter didn't exist, Donald Trump would be president right now, most likely. It wasn't like folks were enamored with Joe Biden. I'm voting for Joe Biden. It was more of, I can't vote for this obnoxious Trump guy. I can't vote for this obnoxious Trump guy. That's what it really boiled down to. And that's not changing at all. Donald Trump's not about to change. He's not going to go low profile, be careful about what he says. The opposite. It's like LaToya Cantrell. He's just going to double down, be as belligerent and defiant as humanly possible. So we know Donald Trump is not going to change. If all things are exactly the same, it's pretty easy to call. It's probably boils down to like Trump can't beat Biden. Biden will beat Trump. But unlike Trump not changing, Joe Biden is changing. Joe Biden is getting older and older. He's already slowed down. He's not the spry guy he was in the past. Donald Trump's no different. Donald Trump's going to hit a wall. He's 76. It's going to happen next month, in 6 months, in a year, in 2 years. Time, age catches up to all of us. It'll catch up to Donald Trump. He'll probably just fade away and disappear. We just won't see him again. Rather not be at his, if he's not going to be at his best, he won't be seen. Joe Biden, we're already seeing a slowdown, a physical and mental slowdown. He's just not quite as, like I said, spry, as quick, on his feet, on the tip of his toes. He's not like that. He makes mistakes. Anytime he speaks, I'm distracted by, like, I'm not listening to his message 100%. I'm is he going to make a mistake? Is he going to screw something up? Is he going to forget where he is? Is he going to call one country another country's name, or say something, call somebody else a different name? Get confused. So that is changing. So I think in a year and a half, 2 years almost, Biden will be 82. He's not going to be quicker or better. Started taking vitamin C, and it's really helped him a lot. Biden's only going to be a little slower. I mean, the only thing liberals can hope for is that he stays at this level, like doesn't continue a downward, path. Stays at this level. There's a drop off. He's not the Joe Biden of 2 years ago, 4 years ago, 5, 6, 10 years ago, without a doubt. Can he sustain the level he's at? Will there not be a significant drop off for a while, at least till after he's reelected? But I think you're going to see even more of a decline in Joe Biden. And then those folks that are the election deciders, you've got Republican conservatives that are only voting for Donald Trump. They're not going to vote for the Democrat either, ever. And then you've got Joe Biden, liberal Democrat supporters that are only going to vote for Joe Biden. They would never vote for a Republican or Donald Trump ever. So you've got those folks. They're locked in. But the more moderate Republicans and Democrats, the independents, the folks that are undecided, like last time, and then said, you know what? I can't vote for Donald Trump. I can't vote for Donald Trump. They never said, I'm voting for Joe Biden. Joe Biden's the guy. You got to vote for Biden because of these positives. It was just the negatives were too large. The negatives were more for Trump than for Joe Biden with these folks. That's what decided the election. Trump's not changing at all. He'll remain the same. Joe Biden is getting older and slower. Will that sway some of the folks where Trump is obnoxious? Last time I voted for Biden, but now Biden is too old. The lesser of the two evils is Trump this time around. He's as obnoxious as hell. But Biden is older and slowing down, and that makes me go the other way. That's the one thing that no one is going to know the answer to. The undecided folks aren't going to know the answer till a month or two outside of the election. No, we're stuck with the most likely. Things can change. There's a lot of time between now and then. I mean, if you honestly ask me, I think two things. One, Joe Biden has no choice right now but to say he's running again. He says he's not running again. He's just a lame duck one-term president. It changes the whole dynamic of the remainder of his term. But him running again, it's business as usual. So one thing, I don't think Joe Biden had any choice but to say emphatically at this juncture in time, I am running for president again. But also, what do I think? In a year and a half or two, when Joe Biden is 82, I think Joe Biden and Dr. Jill Biden will sit down and talk and be like, you know, how many more years do I have left? How many more years do I have left where I'm mentally sharp, physically sharp enough, where we can go do things, where we can go enjoy the rest of, you know, our lives together? I mean, because Dr. Jill Biden looks like she's going to be around for decades, just generally speaking. Joe Biden doesn't. Joe Biden looks like he's, you know, getting up there in age. I'm not saying he's got just a few years left, but I think he's just got a handful of years left where he's mentally and physically active, can go do stuff, can travel and go do things. So I think in a year and a half, almost 2 years from now, the dynamic of Joe Biden's life, his mental capacity, physical capacity, he could easily jump out of this race and say, you know what? I know I said I was running again for a second term, but now as the date approaches, and it's time to blank or get off the pot, I'm getting off the pot. I'm not going to run again. That would not shock me in the least bit. That would not shock me in the least bit. Almost expecting that. Joe Biden had no choice but to say he's running again, and I would say in reality it's about a 50-50 shot he runs again because it's so far into the future. And when you get up in age, coupled with physically and mentally slowing down, all can see, it's like a funnel. It accelerates as you get older. Time's not the same. Hey, television audience, see you tomorrow, straight up 4 o'clock. 4 to 5:30 every weekday, Cox Channel 4, Spectrum Channel 333. Tomorrow, 4 p.m. Hey, radio audience, CoreyTalks.com, live streaming, YouTube. We go until 6 p.m. Hey, Young's Dry Cleaning, they've been going at it since 1940. 80 plus years, 83 years of excellence. Walk-up locations, free pickup and delivery, manless locker locations. Find out more about this New Orleans institution. Jump on board, youngsdrycleaning.com. youngsdrycleaning.com. Wide open Wednesday edition of the program. Rouse's Markets phone lines are open, 766-9480. 766-9480. Rouse's Markets phone lines, 766-9480. Love to hear from you on this wide open Wednesday. Hey, speaking of Rouse's, it is crawfish season. We're in the middle of it, the prime of crawfish season right now. You want them live by the sack to take home and boil yourself? Rouse's Markets. You want them hot from the pot, ready to eat right now? Rouse's Markets. Live from the sack crawfish at your Rouse's Markets. Hot from the pot, ready to eat crawfish at your Rouse's Markets. Best quality, best price, best selection. It does taste like home because it is home. It's crawfish season at your neighborhood Rouse's Markets. Yeah, you right. Hey, the Rouse's Markets phone lines to participate in this program, 766-9480. 766-9480. Yeah, Quin, Hillyer, and Ellis Henican joined us in the 4 o'clock hour. We talked about Joe Biden and Trump. Talked about Carlson, Tucker, and Don Lemon. You know, Don Lemon, CNN, they're struggling. Ratings aren't large, not lots of advertisers. Don Lemon is no kind of difference maker. Don Lemon on that network or not on that network doesn't mean a thing to CNN. All they did is save a multi-million-dollar salary that they might be able to get, you know, a few people and hire a host or two under Don Lemon's salary. And Don Lemon wasn't delivering anything, wasn't delivering ratings, wasn't delivering advertisers, nothing. No base audience, no fans of the show, nothing. Been there 17 years. He said he was shocked. Went in, did the show Monday morning, and then by Monday afternoon, he was gone. No, Don Lemon is, you could say, like part of the face of CNN, but an irrelevant player when it comes down to it as far as ratings, advertisers, audience base, had none of it. You could easily argue going from a primetime nighttime show to co-hosting to your host, the Don Lemon show, your own show at night. You go from that to co-hosting a morning show, a demotion. And after a few months of the morning show gaining absolutely zero traction, no traction at all, Don Lemon was fired. No, I think that's a positive for CNN because it frees up that evening slot. I mean, he's been with the morning show for like 4 to 6 months now. But it frees up that slot in the evening, essentially, and it frees up the morning slot. What's sad for CNN and MSNBC, they're going to have to just continuously throw mud against the wall and hope something sticks. That's basically what they're doing. They're throwing show hosts out there and they're hoping for a Jon Stewart, Bill Maher type of person to pop up. Someone that is going to draw in an audience, that's going to have a base, that's going to have a loyal support, that's going to have advertisers interested, that's going to create revenue, money for CNN. So they're going to keep just throwing mud against the wall and hope something sticks. I mean, could you imagine Bill Maher every night or Jon Stewart? CNN would have that they would get ratings, advertisers, the rest of the station would benefit. No, MSNBC and CNN are just flat out desperate for that type of person. I can't think of one show host on CNN or MSNBC that makes you go, man, I got to watch tonight. I got to watch Rachel Maddow. I got to watch Anderson Cooper. I've got to watch that tonight. Joy Reid, Don Lemon. There's just MSNBC, CNN don't have any hosts that drive you to the network. None. Zero. There's no Jon Stewart or Bill Maher. There's not a, your boy who was on that, the brother was the governor of New York, Cuomo. There's not even that type of interest. Cuomo at the airport, two guys messing with him kind of messing with them. You want to fight? At least the guy had a pulse at least. CNN, MSNBC have none of that. Now, you can argue, especially you left-leaning folks, that Fox has nothing. I mean, like, Waters, I think, is a total lightweight. I think he brings nothing to the table, no depth, no knowledge, no history, like a joker. But he has huge numbers and ratings and a loyal following and a base. Carlson Tucker had that. Ingram has it. Hannity has it. Carlson Tucker was number one. Over 4 million viewers each and every day. He was dominant. He was kicking butt and taking names. But Fox had Bill O'Reilly, and he was the dominant person. And Megyn Kelly seemed to be the heir apparent. They lost both of them, and they did not miss a beat. Ratings went up with Carlson Tucker. I mentioned Waters. You put in this lightweight. Ratings are huge. He's got a big audience. So Fox, even though they lose the bigger name, they're not going to miss a beat. They'll just plug and play. They'll put somebody else in there, Gutfeld or someone, and Carlson Tucker's time slot will pull 3.5, 4 million plus a night. And CNN, same deal with a nobody, Don Lemon, someone that didn't garner ratings or audience or advertisers. They're only going to gain by losing Don Lemon. Now, we discussed that with Quin, Hillyer, and Ellis Henican in the 4 o'clock hour as well. Ukraine, China meeting with Zelensky, Russia, North Korea, abortion pill, Washington state becoming the 9th state to ban assault weapons. Hey, Fausto's opened their doors about 35 minutes ago. They go 5 till 9 p.m. tonight. Dinner is served at Fausto's Italian Bistro on Vets, serving some of the city's best Sicilian and Italian. Wonderful, authentic Sicilian and Italian. Easy parking. You can dine outside tonight when the weather's like this. Outdoor, white tablecloth dining at Fausto's Italian Bistro, or dine inside in the dining room or sit at the bar and watch NBA playoff action. New Orleans-inspired Italian and Sicilian, Fausto's Italian Bistro on Vets. Corey Johnson with you. Wide Open Wednesday. Press Drive by Leon C. Simon near the FBI. I don't know if it's going to be that side, the lake side of Press Drive, but definitely by SUNO's campus. Press Drive renamed SUNO Blvd right there. Kind of the S-curve through campus. SUNO on one side, the Pontchartrain Park Bartholomew Golf Course on the other. Press Drive by Leon C. Simon, by the Train Trellis, by SUNO, Southern University of New Orleans, Press Drive is now SUNO Blvd. And I'm assuming here about midway to the Chef to Gentilly Boulevard, that half will be Press Boulevard after the golf course, after SUNO. What is that? Robert E. Lee maybe at Press? Does Robert E. Lee go through the canal? I would think that street to like Gentilly Boulevard, Chef Highway, that will remain Press Drive. Anyway, SUNO Boulevard by SUNO. The legalization of recreational marijuana failed to get out of committee up in Baton Rouge, a House Criminal Justice Committee, voting pretty much on party lines. 9 Republicans voted against the bill. 4 Democrats voted for the bill. Essentially, in Louisiana, we have recreational marijuana. It is insanely easy. I'm not exaggerating. My hair follicle hurts. My eyebrow hurts. My toenail is killing me, doctor. You can pretty much get those 3 things may not work. I can't sleep. I need it to eat. I have chronic pain, whatever. You can pretty much make up anything and get a medical marijuana card in Louisiana. And then you can go to one of these pharmacies. I even think you can do it online and they'll deliver it to you. They'll mail it to you. You can get the gummies, which I guess are edibles, and then they have the vaping thing. It's funny when I'm behind a car, and I don't think it's marijuana. The box vape, it's like a box the dude's holding. I mean, literally, it's like 6 inches by 2 inches thick and like 3 inches wide. It's like a physical box with this like nipple thing on the end. And the exhale, I'm like, is that dude's car on fire? Like the amount of exhale coming out of the card frame. I'm like, my first thought was fire. Oh, okay, vaping. Like within a half a second, a millisecond. But I'm like, is a car on fire? Just billowing out. Anyway, there's gummies or edibles or candies, stuff like that are THC laced. Then there is the vaping. And then there is, they call it the flower now in Louisiana, where you can get the physical plant and roll up a doobie, bro. Anyway, the legalization of recreational marijuana essentially exists because it's so easy to get a medical marijuana card. Let me put it to you this way. Of the 10 people, I mean, it's just arbitrary. Somebody that you'd least expect has a marijuana card. You don't even know it. Of the 10 people or so that I know, I'd say 8 of the 10, 9 of the 10 don't have any kind of physical ailment where they need the marijuana card. They're kind of wink, wink, nod, just BS, sort of making up an ailment to get it. Anyway, the real legalization or decriminalization of it didn't get out of committee up in Baton Rouge. Hey, every day we broadcast live on radio, on television, on YouTube, live streaming, CoreyTalks.com. We do it from the Buddy Diliberto, River City's Total Maintenance Studios. That's Fair and Honest Lucas and the boys, air conditioning and heating experts that come immediately. What other things do you need to know about an air conditioning outfit? Those 3, I think, are of vital importance. Honest, air conditioning and heating experts that come immediately. Honest, incapable of screwing you around. Air conditioning and heating experts, they know what they're doing. They're going to diagnose it right. And they come immediately because they know your AC or heat's not working, you're inconvenienced, you're stressed out, they're going to fix it for you. Honest air conditioning and heating experts that come immediately. That's Fair and Honest Lucas and the boys at River City's Total Maintenance. Find them at NOLAAC.com, NOLAAC.com. Corey Johnson with you, 5 o'clock powwow on a wide open Wednesday. We do it every weekday afternoon from the Buddy Diliberto, River City's Total Maintenance Studios.
If you love Katie's Restaurant in Mid-City, you're going to love Bienvenue in Harahan. The same folks bringing a little of that New Orleans flavor to Hickory Avenue. If you love Katie's, come to Bienvenue on Hickory Avenue in Harahan.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes, a magazine as unique as you.
Hi, everyone. It's Tommy Wrong for AsbestosMoneyGrab.com. This is not, I repeat, not for folks with real asbestos problems. But if you're like me, and we're maybe taking a shop class in high school where you maybe breathed in some brake dust, and you know for certain you're fine, but you're the type of person that takes advantage of these types of situations, get tested, lawyer up, and steal some money like me. Go to I'm not really hurt at all, but like exploiting the system for free cash.com.
When a young man comes in and they walk into our store and you can see they're a little intimidated. Last week, I saw the young man. I said, hey, what can I do to give you a hand? He said, well, I'm here for an engagement ring, but I don't think I'm in the right place. So I got him to my desk, and within an hour, he had purchased an engagement ring, had spent $1,000, and he was treated like he spent a lot more, and I'm sure we have a customer for life. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
Fausto's Italian Bistro on Veterans Boulevard, where the brothers Fausto and Roland are serving some of the city's finest Sicilian and Italian cuisine. From New Orleans' first family of Sicilian and Italian cooking, Fausto's Italian Bistro on Vets.
Hi, this is Joey Helm. My dad, Bunky Helm, had a vision of a locally family-owned store serving the residential and commercial paint needs of New Orleans. I think Dad would be proud of today's Helm Paint and Decorating, and here's why. We have the best technical staff in the business, providing the best color matching service in Southeast Louisiana. Perfect matching for any color and any brand. And we'll save your colors so you don't have to save those old cans. Helm Paint offers free 2-hour delivery. Our in-store decorators will assist you on deciding what color and type of paint to best showcase your home. But most importantly, as your local independent Benjamin Moore dealer, our products provide the greatest value in the paint industry. Superior coverage, and Benjamin Moore paint simply covers better and lasts longer. New Orleans is a city of vibrant color, and no one else provides the paints of New Orleans like Helm Paint and Decorating. Visit any of our 6 locations or online at helmpaint.com.
Helm Paint, let us do you right. Helm Paint and Supply.
Hey y'all, it's Junket Cantrell, Mayor, City of New Orleans. We've decided to hold a contest where you can decide where I go next on my taxpayer finance vacation. I was thinking about Acapulco, but that's in the Western Hemisphere, and we can do a lot better than that. Think Europe, Asia, maybe even the Middle East. You know, if it's safe. You don't want old Junket Cantrell getting hurt. It's all about my vacation, having fun and spending the city's money on my entertainment. I'll be flying first class, of course, and I'll be bringing some administrative flunkies with me. It should only cost the city around $30,000, maybe $40,000. Help me pick my next city finance vacation. Go online, Cantrell Junket at cityofno.gov. and have a feast day.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralox, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralox technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralox is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Rouse's, New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's has the only full-service grocery stores both in the French Quarter on Royal Street and in the CBD on Baronne in the old Sewell Cadillac building. The Rouse's on the river, Tchoupitoulas at Napoleon, is in a century-old warehouse. And uptown on Ferret at the corner of Valence is Rouse's all-new boutique store. With 7 locations in Orleans Parish, Rouse's is New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's Markets. Taste like home.
It's time to relax. The Woodhouse Day Spa, Metro New Orleans' premier day spa experience, now with 5 area locations. For a day of relaxation or maybe just a quick 1-hour getaway, the Metro area's premier day spa experience is at the Woodhouse Day Spa. And now 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and our newest location in Mandeville. The Woodhouse Day Spa, woodhousespas.com.
Which Metro New Orleans area restaurant made CNN's top 50 in America and ThrillList.com's top 25 and has served presidents at the White House for over 40 years? Trey Yen in Mandeville.
Hey, why aren't you at Katie's right now in Mid-City? The quintessential New Orleans neighborhood restaurant, Katie's in Mid-City, full of New Orleans characters. A Mid-City mainstay, Katie's in Mid-City. Don't forget about Francesca Deli and Pizzeria in Lakeview. In the old Charlie's Deli location, Harrison Avenue, in between Canal Boulevard and West End. FrancescaDeli.com. About 15 different specialty deli sandwiches to choose from, or build your own sandwich. Pick the bread, the meat, the dressing, the cheese, the extras. A true deli. They're in Lakeview, in the old Charlie's Deli. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria. Harrison Avenue, in between Canal Boulevard and West End Boulevard. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria. Katie's in Mid-City. Corey Johnson with you. A wide open Wednesday edition of the program. Rouse's Markets phone line, 766-9480. 766-9480. If you missed the 4 o'clock hour, you missed another edition of Hillyer and Henican. Right-leaning Quin Hillyer, left-leaning Ellis Henican joined us. Talked about the abortion pill. Maybe Ellis's thoughts were the Supreme Court kind of gauging how the public feels about the Roe versus Wade going away and abortion becoming illegal in many states, and maybe tempering their feelings on that with this pause with the abortion pill. Quin thought it had nothing to do with that at all, just strictly following the law. The majority of Americans are for the right to choose. Washington State becomes the 9th state to ban assault weapons. The majority of Americans are for enhanced gun laws, more gun laws, enhanced gun laws, more regulations, keeping guns out of the wrong people's hands. You know, I can't even think of an example of anyone that I know that would have any problem getting a gun with enhanced background checks. You, me, anyone that wants to go get a gun from a Academy Sports, Walmart, a gun store, not going to have any problem getting that gun. Harder to get a driver's license. Go down to Troop B over there on Vets by I-10. By West End Pontchartrain Boulevard. There's always a line outside of that thing to get a driver's license. The gun store, you're in and out in 15 minutes with the gun and the bullets, having no idea how to even load the gun, much less shoot it. There's no instructions. There's nothing. You can buy the gun and the bullets. The folks selling it to you don't care if you know how to use it in the least bit. Much harder to get a driver's license. No, I don't know a single human being. Does a single human being exist in America that is anti-Second Amendment? I think I could Google them and find them on the internet device. Do I know any single person? Have I ever met a human being, the most liberal person I know, and they're anti-Second Amendment? I've never met that person. So I think a lot of this is just extremes on the left and right pulling strings when the majority of Americans know what they want when it comes to abortion rights and guns and realistic background checks and realistic gun laws. Hey, Helm Paint and Decorating, on a day like this, you could have knocked out that paint project. Maybe you did. And maybe you did like I did a few months back when I had to paint my house. I went to Helm Paint and Decorating. I went to the Earhart location of Helm Paint and Decorating. There are 7 locations in the metro area, East Bank, West Bank, North Shore. There's always friendly folks that are painting experts. That's all they do at Helm. That'll help you. That'll steer you in the right direction. Now, I went to the Earhart location, picked out the Regal Select line of Benjamin Moore paint with help from Joey Helm, Keith Main, Ronnie Helm, Christy Helm helped me pick the color for my house. Lifetime guarantee on that paint. When you got to paint in Metro New Orleans, do it once, do it right. They truly will steer you in the right direction. You go to Helm Paint and Decorating.
River Cities Total Maintenance keeps you cool, New Orleans. NOAAC.com is your cool spot.
Being a part of people's lives, from an engagement ring to a wedding band. Before you know it, the wedding day is here and groom and bride are exchanging gifts on that day. And not too long after that, there's baby gifts to have. And I just enjoy being part of other people's family, saying, Mr. Friend did my engagement ring and he did my mom and dad's engagement ring. My name is Ken Friend of Friend and Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Henican. Interlocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Interlocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Interlocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Francesca Deli and Pizzeria has over 15 specialty sandwiches, a big 10-ounce burger, and some of the best pizza in New Orleans. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End.
Ford F-150, #1 seller in America. What about in the USA? Let's see, what about in the world? Who sells more trucks than Ford? Nobody. It's because the Lamar team is the real team. All that makes it happen is one goal. Everybody having a great experience at Lamar Ford. We became #1 for a reason, because we're good. And we need to prove it every day, every deal, all of the time.
What actually lasts a lifetime? Not much, but at Helm Paint, we have something guaranteed to last a lifetime. Benjamin Moore's Regal Select. This paint and primer in one offers cutting-edge waterborne technology, smooth application, and long durability. Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore, your New Orleans paint store.
Rouse's, New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's has the only full-service grocery stores both in the French Quarter on Royal Street and in the CBD on Baronne in the old Sewell Cadillac building. The Rouse's on the river, Tchoupitoulas at Napoleon, is in a century-old warehouse. And uptown on Ferret at the corner of Valence is Rouse's all-new boutique store. With 7 locations in Orleans Parish, Rouse's is New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's Markets. Taste like home.
Greater New Orleans, a destination for learning. With 13 colleges and universities and a booming job market, Greater New Orleans is the ultimate destination for your higher education. Your path to the future begins in Greater New Orleans. Find out more at studynola.com.
Outdoor dining, Middle Eastern cuisine, under the oak trees, Lebanon's Cafe, some of the city's finest lamb chops and shish kebab, Carrollton at Jeanette by the streetcar barn, Lebanon's Cafe.
Hey, Friend and Company Fine Jewelers is on Maple Street in between Broadway and Carrollton. You do have a friend in the jewelry business. Ken Friend will take care of you on Maple Street. Diamond necklaces, diamond tennis bracelets, diamond stud earrings. New Orleanians that know Friend and Company Fine Jewelers when it comes to engagement rings or the diamond wedding band. Hey guys, this is the most significant purchase of your life, a lifetime purchase. For her, the most significant person in your life. Take care of her with real natural diamonds, not 3-week-old man-made diamonds that are lab created, flooding the market, depreciating in value quickly, not appreciating in value. Real natural diamonds for her. Friend and Company Fine Jewelers on Maple Street. What's that, Blue Boy? You can spend north of $100,000 at Friend and Company, literally. And there's a room where everything's under $1,000. Real natural diamonds. You're right on the money, Blue Boy. Friend and Company Fine Jewelers. Hey, we'll see you tomorrow, 4 p.m. Be there.
You're on the neutral ground with Corey Johnson on TV on Cox Channel 4 and Spectrum Channel 333. Also on YouTube, on radio at NOLA Talk 93.9 FM, WSLA New Orleans.
Hi, it's Ken Friend from Friend and Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business. Come see us over on Maple Street in Uptown.
Friend and Company Fine Jewelers, Breitling time, 6 p.m.